Alright, here's another way to put data into SAS. You might have a data set, for example, that only has one word for each name, or I have names of different departments and I only have one word for this department. In that case, I want each department to be a separate variable, but I don't want SAS to think that a space delimits one variable from another variable. I don't want a space to be the distinction between variables. So I need to input this data in a different way. So let's go look at the SAS program. So here's what SAS does. See how in my input statement I have name and then the $sign as always. We need to tell SAS this is a character variable, but then I'm telling SAS exactly which columns it can find the names in. So let's go back to the data set. There it is. So I have the names in columns 1 through 17. So here's, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The name Clayskins is found in columns 1 through 9. I really need to go out a little bit further though, because this name Elizabeth Scott is a little bit longer. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You can see that I gave it a couple of extra spaces. That usually isn't important. If it is, you can use a trim statement that we'll talk about a little bit later. So I said, okay, this is found in columns 1 through 17, and then I have variable department found, and again it's a character variable, found in columns 19 through 18, age in columns 41 through 42, and so on. Eventually, because things are spaced out evenly, you can tell I just left out the column numbers for that one. That's not a big deal. So that's how you input the data. Now I'll tell you one more secret. There's no office number for this last employee, so I'm just missing that data. In order to keep SAS from thinking that it should wrap around and put this next name, John, into the office number variable, we have to use what's called a Missover statement. So at the very end of my in-file statement, I have a Missover statement. If I didn't have that, let's see what would happen. So let me run this. And you can see things are a little bit mixed up. I've only got 3 variables. Let's look at the log statement. It says invalid data for office in line 5. So something's wrong, something's missing. So instead of this, I can say Missover, and then that should clear things up. So I'll get rid of this and run it again. Now that's what I wanted. I wanted office to have a missing variable right there. Another thing that we can do is use a delimiter. For example, I might have a data set that looks like this. Everything's smack up next to each other. Not only do I not have any column delimiting, I don't even have a space between 2 things. And I have name, age, date of birth, and salary together, and they're delimited by commas. Now, you can use lots of different kinds of delimiters. For example, maybe there's a star between each variable or a horizontal line instead of a comma. But here, let me just use a comma, and you can see what happens. Here's the SAS program. All it needs is this little delimiter statement right here. That delimiter keeps it from thinking that the comma is part of the variable. And then again, you want to do the same. Let's put a $sign after name and birth date. I did as well. Let's input them as character variables. There's another way of inputting dates that we're going to talk about a little bit later. So once I run this, there you are.